Okay, this is set 9, day Thursday. We are starting on page 1. Our number 1 says simplify the expression. Y'all, they have given you a very easy PEMDAS. Remember, anytime we see an order of operations or a PEMDAS, I want you guys to write this. It reminds you of the order. It reminds you that multiplication and division have equal value. Addition and subtraction have equal value. So you work these left to right, no matter which one actually comes first. You work these left to right and you work these left to right, okay? So we look down and the first thing we have is parentheses. Do we have parentheses? We do. We have 2 sets. So we're going to work left to right. So we're going to cross out our 7 times 3. What is 7 times 3? It's 21, okay? 7, 14, 21. We've got 21 plus, what's 5 times 8? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. So that's going to be 40. We've done our math in the parentheses, so we don't need to bring our parentheses down. We're left with 40 plus 21, which you should be able to do mentally, but just in case, we can write it down. 1 plus 0 is 1. 4 plus 2 is 6. We cross this out, and it equals 61. Okay, super easy PEMDAS. All right, we have 3/4 plus 75 cents if we're thinking money. And y'all remember, every fraction has a decimal and every decimal has a fraction. So I want you to think about in class, anytime we had a fraction that had a 4 on the bottom, I would tell y'all, hold up your 4 fingers. These are 4 quarters. So if you have 4 quarters and you have 3 of them, remember I would say grab your 3 fingers. If each of these is a quarter and you grabbed 3 of your 4, how much money did you have in your hand? We got 3 quarters in there, so 3 quarters is 75 cents. Well, how do we write 75 cents? Well, we write 75 cents just like that. Well, if we turn that into a decimal, is that going to be easier to add together? It absolutely is. So we have 75 plus 75. I'm gonna line my decimals up just like we have to. 5 plus 5 is 10, carry the 1. 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. But I gotta bring that decimal straight down. So if I had 75 cents plus 75 cents, would that be $1.50? It would, okay? Now, the other thing we can do, if we wanted to keep our fraction, we can turn 75 into a fraction as well. And it would be 75 hundredths. And this is how we would write it. But guys, we're going to want to reduce this to simplest form. We're going to want to simplify this. So think about money and think about this again being 75 cents and $1. What coin do they have in common? Well, they have a quarter in common. Are there quarters that make 75 cents evenly? Yes. Is there quarters that make $1 even? Yes. So if they share a common factor of 25, then we can divide both of these by 25 and get a much smaller fraction. So 75 divided by 25 is 25, 50, 75. That's going to be 3. Well, how many quarters are in $1? Well, that's going to be 4. So this 75 hundredths actually turns into 3/4. Well, if that's the case, then we have 3/4 plus 3/4. Can we add that as well? Absolutely. We have 2 common denominators. So we've got 3 plus 3 equals 6. We don't change our denominator, so it's a 4. But that's what kind of fraction? That's an improper fraction. So let's turn this into a mixed number. So this is 6 divided by 4. How we do it in class is how many times does 4 go into 6? It goes in 1 time, but that 1 times 4 is only 4, and we've got 6. So how many more do we need? We need 2 more, so that's our denominator. Our numerator. Our denominator doesn't change, but we can't leave that alone because that's got 2 even numbers, guys, so we have to reduce that. Well, what common factor does 2/4 have? Well, 2 goes into both of those because they're both even. So we're going to use our super 1 of 2 over 2. We're going to bring our 1 over. We're going to do 2 divided by 2 is 1. We're going to do 4 divided by 2 is 2. And we ended up with 1.5. Well, is that 1.5? It sure is. Because if we were going to write this as a fraction, as a decimal, 1.5 would be 1.5. Okay, so these two answers are exactly the same thing. One is a decimal and one is a mixed number. Okay, Charlie bought 7 packages of cookies. 6 of the packages, so 6 of the 7 packages had 15 each. 1 of the packages had 12 cookies in it. So again, this isn't Charlie, this is you. You bought 7 packages of cookies. 6 of those packages had 15 cookies in them, and 1 of those packages had 12. So circle the equation that shows the total number of cookies Charlie bought. Well, let's look at our choices. We've got 6 times 15, okay? Well, we do have 6 packages that had 15 cookies in each, so far this would be correct. Then it says plus 12. Well, we had one other package that had 12 cookies in it, so is this one way we could get our answer? It looks like it is, so we're going to put a question mark by it. Did we have 7 packages? Did all 7 of his packages have 15 cookies in them? No, because one of them had 12, so we know that can't be right. Now this says 6 plus 15. Does this say he had 6 cookies and 15 cookies? No, it says he had 6 packages that had 15 cookies each. So this isn't even multiplication, so that can't be right. Then we have our 6 cookies with 15 in each. So we have our multiplication again, and this part is correct. But this says times 12. So did he multiply these cookies by another group of 12? No, he didn't. So that's not correct. So this is the equation that would give us the correct answer. Okay? All right, we are going to do some converting. So let's look at the first one. It's milligrams to grams. Y'all, when you see milligrams, liters, meters, you know that that's metric. So you are going to immediately write King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. Remember, this is our liters, meters, grams. This is our basic unit of measure. This is our kilo, this is our centa, this is our milli. Okay? So we're going to look at what we've been given. We've been given milligrams. So we're going to start right here, and we've been given the number 3,000. Well, where's our decimal in the number 3,000? If it's not there, you know it's a whole number, so you know it's at the end. And they're asking us to convert milli to grams. And which one of these letters represents grams? That's our basic unit of measure. So our U is where our liters, meters, and grams are. So this is where our grams is going to be. So if we started at milli and we're going back to gram, we're going 1, 2, 3 times to the left. Okay, we're actually dividing by 10 each time. So 1, 2, 3, and we're ending up with the whole number 3. So our 3,000 milli, our teeny, teeny, tiny milligrams, turned into 3 grams. And that makes sense because our grams number should be less because grams are bigger than milligrams. Okay? All right. We are converting miles to yards. So we get to get our little reference sheet. And we're looking for miles. Here it is. Remember, as soon as you see that that's U.S. customary, you're going to draw our little shell. That's what it looks like. You immediately draw that on your paper. You immediately write MY, because we're converting miles to yards. Then you go to your conversion sheet, and you see that there's 1 mile, and there is 1,760 yards in a mile. So this is our basic conversion that we get off of our conversion sheet. And then we look back at our problem and we say, okay, which one did they give us? Did they give us miles or did they give us yards? Well, they gave us miles and they gave us 5. So we know that our 5 has to be lined up with our miles. It has to be in the right column. So again, we use our arrow method, guys, just like we do when we find common denominators. How did we get from 1 to 5? What did we multiply? Well, we multiplied by 5. Whatever we did on the top, we have to do on the bottom. So we have 1,760 times 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 6 times 5 is 30. Carry the 3. 7 times 5 is 35. 36, 37, 38. carry the 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. We don't have any decimals in our numbers, so our 5 miles converted to 8,800 yards, which again makes sense. A mile is super, super long, and a yard is 3 feet, essentially 3 feet. So obviously 5 miles is going to convert into way more yards because yards is much smaller than a mile. So we're going to write in our 8,800. We're going to erase. We're going to look at our next problem, which says quarts to cups. You guys, that's U.S. customary, so we are immediately going to draw our shell. We're going to look at our conversion chart, or we can also look at our gallon guy for this, because really it's easier to look at our gallon guy because this is cups and quarts. So we've got, here's our little quarts. Remember, there's 4 quarts in a gallon. We are converting quarts to cups. You're going to write that down immediately. Then we're going to look, okay, here's our quart, there's our Q. How many cups are inside there? Well, look, we've got 2 pints in a quart, but there's 2 cups in each pint. So that means there's 4 cups in a quart. So there's 4 cups in 1 quart. So that is our basic unit of conversion. That's our basic conversion for these 2 things, quarts to cups, okay? Then again, we come back to our problem and we say, okay, which one did they give us? Did they give us quarts or cups? They gave us quarts, so we're going to write it across from the quarts. We're going to draw our arrow. How do we get from 1 to 23? We multiplied by 23. Whatever we do on the top, we got to do on the bottom. So we've got 23 times 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. So our 23 quarts turned into 92 cups, which again makes sense because cups are much smaller than quarts. So that should be a bigger number. All right, we have pounds to tons. We know that's not metric, so it's got to be U.S. customary. So we draw our little shell. We come over here and we're looking for pounds and tons. We find it right here. There is 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. So we're converting pounds to tons. There was 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. We come back here. Which one did it give us? It gave us the pounds. So we're going to put our 12,000 pounds in the same place that the pounds are. Okay. How did we get from 2,000 to 12,000? We can cancel out these 3 zeros because we got 3 zeros on both sides. So how did we get from 2 to 12? Well, we multiplied by 6. Whatever we do on the bottom, on the top, we have to do on the bottom. 1 times 6 is 6. So our 12,000 pounds turns into 6 tons. And that is how we convert. Super easy. It works every time. All right, number 5. Use the table we made yesterday for number 5 to write a word problem. And you know what, you guys, we actually did that yesterday kind of for fun, so that worked out great. So let's look at this, and I'm always going to do the mode or the range. So let's just do the mode because it's easy, and this video is already really long. So let's say, what is the mode of the miles chart? Okay. What was the mode of how many miles that were walked by these participants? Okay. Well, mode is the one that appears the most, and you can look, it's real easy to see what the mode is when you've got a dot plot because it's whichever one's the highest. Well, that's number 10. So what is the mode? It's going to be 10. All right, we are multiplying. Y'all should be really good at multiplication now, so let's just do this quickly. 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 7 is 21. Put your 0 placeholder, we're done with our 3. 6 times 2 is 12, carry the 1. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 6 times 7 is 42. We've got 6, we've got 2, we've got 2, we've got 4, and we've got 4. Except for, look up here, guys. We've got 2 numbers to the right of the decimal. We've got one number to the right of the decimal. 2 plus 1 is 3. Our decimal is at the end. We're going to move it 3 times to the left. And our final answer is 42 and 226 thousandths. All right, we're going to divide. We've got a decimal in our dividend. We're going to float that bobber right now. This one's super easy because it's already rounded for us to 30, so we can put our little 3 here. 30 is going to go into 50. Again, this is easy. One time. We're going to subtract our 2 and our 0. We're going to bring down our 2. We're going to come to our little friend 3, and we're going to say about how many times does 3 go into 20? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. So it's going to go in 6. So let's multiply 30 times 6. We've got a 0. We've got 18. We're going to write 180. 2 minus 1 is 1, but does our friend need help? Yep, so we're not going to write a 0. We're just going to give our friend the help. 10 minus 8 is 2. Does our friend need help? Nope, so we write our 2. 2 minus 0 is 2. We double check. Our subtraction is less than our divisor, so we can bring down our last number. About how many times does our little friend 3 go into 22? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. It goes in 7, so let's start with 7. So we're going to go 30 times 7. 7 times 0 is 0. That is 21. So that's 210. Well, we're going to get to keep going because that didn't end up being equal for us. So we've got 210. So 2 minus 1 is 1. Our friend does not need help. 5 minus 0 is 5. And then we're going to have to add a 0. Whoops, I forgot to put our answer up here. Sorry. Got to put our 7. We're going to add another 0 because we still have a remainder. About how many times does 3 go into 15? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Oh, it goes in exactly 5 times. So if we did 5 times 3, that would be 15. Add a 0. That gives us 150. So we know that that is going to be a 5. And that is the answer.